When's the last time you bought a watch? And then what was it for? Was it for a special occasion or just because you saw something new? I'm a sucker for a good dial, and I saw something and I knew I had to have it. But before I get into it, I just want to let you know what my first actual watch was. And that was this guy right here. This was my first real watch. The Bulova Lunar Pilot, 45 millimeter no date. And learning about watches, you have the Speedmaster Moonwatch, and when you're kind of getting into this stuff, you don't understand why a watch costs so much, so you start kind of doing your research. But not to go off on a tangent, right? This was that sort of entry-level Speedmaster, and I fell in love with the dial. It had a sapphire crystal, and it was a quartz watch, so it was like a beginner watch. I didn't have to worry about winding or anything like that. And at first, the idea was super cool, and I love the fact that this had history. That's another reason why I like to buy watches, history. So, by the way, this is a huge watch on my wrist. I think I wear a 42 millimeter pretty well. This watch is just massive. So then I got onto other watches, and maybe we'll do a video on that some other time. So I got my Tudor, my Omega, I got a Hamilton, and a few other watches, and I never thought I'd buy another quartz watch until I saw this guy. I'm a sucker for good material, and well, first of all, we'll get into the Meteorite in a second. When I heard that the case was made out of titanium and steel, check. When I found out the watch was 43 millimeters, check. And then the fact that it has a Meteorite dial, okay. I love space, anything space related, which is why I also own the Hamilton Pilot, the khaki Pilot from Interstellar. This is I think the Cooper. So anything space related I just go nuts for it. So to find out that Bulova put a Meteorite dial on their watch was insane, and I had to have it. I just had to have it. So I pulled the trigger on it. When I first went on the website, it said notify me, so they were all out of stock, and then I kind of frantically went through the internet and trying to look for it. I couldn't even find it on Chrono24. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I put notify me, and I got an email maybe 4 days later that they were back in stock. And I pulled the trigger on it. The dial is so beautiful, but I just want to go over a few things. So since this is kind of a introduction to the watch itself, I just want to go over, first of all, the size is great on my wrist, but I have a gripe with a couple things. This is genuine leather, and it feels so cheap. I mean, it feels so cheap, and it smells synthetic. It smells like plastic. So I don't like that. The strap is getting changed out immediately. I already have one on the way. The unboxing was also super underwhelming. So for anybody who likes that experience, especially when you get a limited edition watch, I think mine's like $439 out of 5,000. You expect there to be some sort of drama when you unbox it, and it was just kind of underwhelming. I think that the 50th anniversary edition of this watch had a better presentation, and I feel like this watch is more special. I mean, you have a piece of outer space on the dial, for crying out loud, right? Just take a look at that again. And the hardware on the straps also just it's kind of cheap, It's a $1,500 watch, but again, we're talking titanium and Meteorite, so that's really all I have to say about the watch. I'm gonna enjoy it. I love it. I'm a sucker for a good dial, so when I'm out and I have sunlight hitting the watch, it's just gonna be amazing to look at. I love that. And I don't know what I should do with my original Lunar Pilot. I don't know if I should sell it if I should keep it. It has that kind of story behind it as being my first kind of real watch. But I wanted to put them side by side so that you guys can see the major difference when it comes to the case size. I mean, just look at that Meteorite dial. So before I end the video, I just want to put both of them on my wrists so you can see kind of the size difference on what that looks like. So this is what the 45 millimeter looks like on the wrist. I think it's massive. It may just be right on the edge of the watch being way too big for my wrist. And this is what the 43 looks like. Not much of a big difference, but it's enough for it to feel more comfortable when I wear it. When I look down on my wrist, it doesn't look like, you know, this big old thing on there. And I mean, I think what's important is the dial here, right? I just keep going back to that. Just look at that. That's beautiful. So, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, I buy a watch maybe once every 6 months, maybe once a year if it's a really expensive one. I think I have something great coming into the collection sometime soon, so stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.